Hey guys, PIEGUYRULZ here with the Reboot, Rehash, Revival podcast. I am here, as always, with MonstersReview.
What's up?
And today we're joined by our special guest, Jamie, also known as FutureGohan.
How you doing, guys?
So we have an interesting show this week in that it's the first time, I think, that I personally am not like a fan or into both the shows we're talking about this week. So this is unknown territory for me. But yeah, we have an interesting show this week. We have an episode from the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series and an episode from the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, both involving mousers and attacking.
Yeah.
Interestingly, we picked what are now the two sandwich series, because there's of course the oldest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, and then there's just recently Nick came out with the Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So we didn't pick the one that was like really timely and just came out, but instead we picked the one that like ended.
Yeah.
But they're definitely two interesting series. From watching one episode, you could tell they're very different interpretations.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, very different.
All right, so we also have some news, some questions, and stuff. Just stuff. We got stuff we watched. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing pretty good today. How about you, Monsters?
I'm doing pretty good. A little tired, but I'm going to pull through.
How many hours have you spent in the last week out on shoots?
In total, probably 16. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but it does when you have a lot of other things to do.
Yeah. I've been all right.
I forgot to ask.
He's like, oh, thanks for asking.
Yeah. I've been better. But I've been worse. So before we get on with the podcast proper, I feel like I kind of need to give a little bit of a statement on kind of what's been going on with me and my channel, because I don't know. I've been saying some stuff on Twitter, and I don't know. We're reaching an interesting point. I've been doing this for 10 years, and my channel isn't growing, and I'm not entirely happy with the content that I've been making. I just feel like it's just not, I don't know. Like I feel like I should step it up, but then I don't know how to step it up, and I don't know. I'm just not super happy with the content I've been making, and the one thing that's kind of been pulling me through, especially with like the SpongeBob video, is to get like a decent amount of viewership. And then the SpongeBob video came out, and it didn't get a huge viewership, and some people weren't happy with the video too, which is totally fair. They're entitled to that opinion, but a combination of not the greatest reception, plus not a huge view count, plus SpongeBob is not a show that it's a very difficult show for me, because I do still enjoy watching some episodes, but like the whole process of watching the episodes multiple times, I'm just not that interested in the show, or at least what the show has become, to keep pushing through for myself. So I did it for the fans, and it just doesn't feel like there's that much interest anymore. So I've just kind of been getting a little bit of negative feedback, and I've just had a lot of like a big lack of motivation to make videos, and I have a new job coming up in a few weeks that's going to be pretty intensive on my time. Like I basically would only be able to work on videos on the weekends, and even as is, when I do have plenty of free time, I go to try to make videos, and I can't get the right words out, and I don't feel like my analysis skills are there, and I don't feel like my visuals are that interesting, and I'm just struggling with it. So it's very complicated, and it's from like a lot of different angles. It's not just that I'm like, oh, the views aren't good, so I'm not doing this anymore. It's more just like, well, the views aren't good, and I'm not like super happy with my content, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of difficult for me to be making videos, and I'm going to be really busy soon, and at a certain point everything has to end. So I don't know. And then on top of that, a few months ago something pretty bad happened to me, and I'm still very much reeling from that, and it's affected me in pretty negative ways, and it's made me not quite the person that I want to be, and I feel like I've been a lot more like snippy with people on Twitter, and I don't want to take anything out on my fans, and I don't want to let it affect my content and stuff. So basically, to wrap it all up, I'm gonna stop like being a drama queen on Twitter or anything like that. I'm not gonna be like, I'm quitting the channel, I'm done with YouTube forever. Because I do still like making the recast, and I don't know, maybe when I'm in a little bit better of a place, happiness wise, I'll feel more motivated to make videos, and I'll find something that I'm really passionate about. Maybe I'll turn my channel into something else. Like maybe I'll find something else to talk about, or maybe there'll be a show or an episode or something that really kind of snaps me out of it, and I gotta make a video on it. So as of right now, the recast is going to continue. We have plans. We have like the next full month of guests booked, and we're very happy with the stuff we've got planned. As for everything else, it's on hold. I'm not saying that it's canceled. I'm not saying that I'm promising it's ever going to come out. But things like the next Bottom of the Bakery, things like the season 11 video, they are not canceled, but they may never see the light of day. So I just wanted to be honest with everyone and just say that I've been kind of going through a rough time, and it's been reflecting in the way I've been behaving, and I don't really like that. Okay, so now on to the happy podcast we have planned.
Oh my god.
Sorry about that.
No.
I just wanted to release it. But yeah, I'm all, like I've been in a pretty bad place, but I'm starting a new job. I'm moving to a pretty sweet condo. I made a bunch of new friends recently, monsters, as you know.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of some dark days for me, but I have things to look forward to.
Here's to new beginnings. Yep.
Absolutely. And I'm happy with the recast, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's other content that I'm just like, I'm making it and I'm like, I don't know, like, but with this show, it's like everything I like about YouTube, right? Like,
Right.
Getting to collaborate with new people, getting to just kind of talk about cartoons, but like without the pressure of like, am I being insightful? Am I saying something interesting? Is my editing good enough? Is this and that? And plus it doesn't, although we do put a decent amount of effort into making, like setting up the podcast and finding guests, it's not anywhere near as intensive as like, an hour-long video or even a 10-minute long video.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So now we're going to transition back into normal podcast. So we are going to start off with stuff we watched in the past week. Jamie, did you watch anything interesting in the past week?
I watched the recent episode of Super Dragon Ball Heroes, and it was really cool, as much as Dragon Ball, is. Have you seen any of the Super Dragon Ball Heroes episodes?
I have not. The last thing Dragon Ball I watched was like early Z.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of Super either.
None of the recent stuff?
No, I know they've been doing good stuff. It's not for lack of, I don't know. When it comes to me and anime, it's like I'll get into an anime phase and I'll watch like Full Metal Alchemist and Death Note and like a bunch of stuff, and then I'll be out of my anime phase and I won't watch it at all. But is it anything? Is it like the older stuff? Like, does it have those problems of just like endless episodes of just standing around charging up?
Dragon Ball Super, no, actually it's a lot more faster paced. But this new series is called Super Dragon Ball Heroes. It's actually almost a completely different, because instead of the episodes being 22 minutes, these are more like 9 minutes. Like, they're really short episodes. Yeah, because this show is only available online. Like, it's not even on TV, and they're only making it because there's an arcade game in Japan called Dragon Ball Heroes. And so what they're doing is this is pretty much a promotional anime. They're only really making it so kids will watch it and get excited for what's going on in this 9-10 minute anime. So then they'll run to the the arcades that are in Japan and play the game. So it's just yeah. So it's just something little to tide the kids over, but really for like us adults that are are just learning, yearning for more Dragon Ball. It's just great to cling on to.
That sounds like what Pokemon did with, was it Origins or what? When they would release, I mean, they were unfortunately very short, like 2-minute long, but they would release things on their YouTube page of just snippets of the anime.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I think it was Heroes. No, not Heroes. What was that called?
I think it was Pokemon Origins.
Origins, probably. But yeah, that's interesting. I had no idea. I've heard about Dragon Ball Super. So Dragon Ball Super Heroes?
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
What
All right.
about y'all? What have y'all seen?
Yeah, monsters.
Oh, I'm up.
Did you watch anything awful?
Not really.
A half CG movie with?
No. Like,
Are you talking about Venom?
basically, yeah,
Yeah.
I told them in advance that we record this on Thursday. I just saw Venom, and I'm the first person I know that's seen it. The only thing I knew going into it was that it had a 28% on Rotten Tomatoes, which, for those of you unfamiliar with the tomato meter, it's not a very good score. Basically, it works. So, out of every critic that has reviewed it on Rotten Tomatoes, only 28% of them gave it a passing grade. But yeah, no, I just saw it, and obviously I won't spoil it, for those of you that haven't seen it yet, but
He becomes Venom. Spoilers.
yeah. But no, it was actually, I thought it was entertaining, and I thought it was pretty funny.
I don't think it was supposed to be funny though.
No, like some of the jokes were actually really funny.
Huh.
Like it's definitely not a sophisticated movie. It's definitely not a sophisticated movie. But I don't think it deserves that low of a score and all of the hate it's been getting. Funny enough, the villain was almost kind of like Elon Musk. He's basically this guy that runs like a rocket company, and he's like one of those tech moguls. He was basically Elon Musk, but
You mean Baxter Stockman?
yeah, yep. But make sure you stay for the post-credit scenes because both of them are very good. I sat next to a bunch of pretentious film snobs, and they were like, "Ugh, this is gross. Is this what you call cinema?" Blech. But I was like,
I hope you're exaggerating.
That's
I mean, not really.
Dude, how great would it have been to have gone to like Teen Titans Go to the Movies and have just like talked like that, like, oh, what is happening to the modern cinema? Just completely
This is
troll
not
other
hot.
moviegoers.
Yeah, but they were really crapping on it. And listen, if you just turn off your mind, watch it, sit back, relax, have fun, I think it'll be worth your money. It's definitely not something you want to go into if you want to get some sort of, underlying messages or social commentary or some sort of, bigger sophistication. But no, I thought it was decent. Hopefully that doesn't get me a lot of backlash, but yeah, no, Venom was
you know what,
decent, I thought.
Monsters? I respect your opinion.
Thank you.
I respect that in America you're allowed to have the wrong opinion.
But yeah, to any of you guys watching, if you do see Venom, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. So we can talk about how I have the wrong opinion.
No, it's okay. It's really okay. Yeah. Did you see Spider-Man 3?
Spider-Man 3. Yes, I have seen Spider-Man 3
Would you say that
with Topher Grace Venom.
Right. Would you say that this was better or worse than Spider-Man 3? Because that's also a pretty hated film.
It's tough because Spider-Man 3 is critically awful, but I love how awful it is. Like with Tobey Maguire doing the jazz hands and the whole musical sequence, and it's like it's one of those movies that's so bad that it's good. So Spider-Man 3 is like a guilty pleasure of mine. I know that like people like to take the first two seriously, and then like the third one is just garbage, but like I love that it's a piece of garbage.
I agree with you on that, actually.
Like they
I don't know,
recently
man.
added it to Netflix, and I think it's funny. I watched it recently. It's so funny.
I don't know, man. I just can't take any of the Raimi Spider-Man movies seriously. Like I know everybody even loves like Spider-Man 2, but even that
they're
one
very
I just
cartoony in tone.
yeah.
They're very different stylistically, and I mean it hasn't helped that the MCU came and kind of blew it away.
Yeah.
Like it's easy to forget that this was in a pre-superhero boom world. Like there was older Batman films, and I mean I guess kind of recent Batman films at that time, and really old Superman films, and like Blade, and like those were the big ones. And
correct
like
me if I'm wrong, but Spider-Man 3 came out in the same year as The Dark Knight.
well,
I think it was
probably not
2008.
wrong. Yeah, you're probably not wrong.
Yeah,
But
but
2008.
I think Spider-Man 3 maybe came out in 2007. Still, like within a year.
Fact check that in post, Monsters.
I will.
Anyway, did you watch anything else? Oh.
I did, but one last quick note on Venom. They missed the opportunity to cross over with The Room, because that's also set in San Francisco, and it's it's a really bad movie.
You are tearing me apart, Venom.
I did
Literally.
not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Venom.
How's your sex
Maybe they
life?
could have just had Tommy Wiseau play Venom. Like, get rid of Tom Hardy.
No, Tom Hardy is still like Eddie Brock, but then Tommy Wiseau is Venom. They like
the voiceover.
Oh
No. He's just Venom. They gave him really long, like he grows his hair out for like a year, and it just covers his body, and then that's Venom.
Oh, hi, doggy.
And then they just end up playing football out in the field for like an hour.
We are Venom, man.
What the story, Ed?
Dude, you
What
do
else did
his
you
laugh
watch?
like perfectly.
I watch The Room religiously. That's probably something I don't want to admit, but anyway, so as many of you probably know, I'm not the biggest anime person. I've seen it here and there. Kind of like Pieguy, I also do have like my phases where like sometimes I'll come across something and I'll be totally into it, and then I'll completely forget that it exists like a little bit later. But some friends of mine were watching Gurren Lagann on Netflix, so I tuned into some of that. We watched episodes 3, 4, and 5. So I didn't properly get, context in terms of, what the series was aiming to do and who the characters were, but I still paid attention to the best of my ability. And it's a very atypical anime, I think, because there's mechs in it, but it's not like your typical mecha anime like Voltron or whatever. It was really funny. I also really dig the art style, just the way that the characters are drawn. Also, in the episodes that I watched, at least, there was a lot of sunsets and really, really great painted backgrounds. So, have any of you guys seen Gurren Lagann?
I've seen the first couple episodes, and I've been meaning to watch past that, but I really don't have time for like long-running anime anymore. Like I think the only other long-running anime I watch other than Dragon Ball is One Piece, and even then, I'll watch like a box set, and then I take like a break, like a good break from One Piece for like a few months. Like it's just hard for me. Like I guess the older I get,
that show's also been going since 1999.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, I don't have much time for anime, so I'm just watching the longest running one, not
one.
called Pokemon.
Yeah, I guess just the older I get, I guess just I'm slowly losing the attention span to just sit there and just watch, these long running anime. So I like to watch the shorter ones, like the 13
like
episodes.
The 12 episode ones.
Yeah. I like to watch those, but anything other than that, I just, I stick to my main ones, my Dragon Ball and maybe a little One Piece, but,
Also, this might upset some of the anime aficionados out there, but I did watch the dub. And supposedly, from what my friends told me, the English dub for Gurren Lagann apparently isn't the best. So, take that as you will.
Get ready for an opinion, guys. People that care about like the whole dub versus subs war, I just don't. I understand having a preference, and I understand wanting to encourage someone to watch it in whatever way you think is best. But like the people that are like diehard obsessive over like, oh, you watched it the wrong way, like I don't know. I find that really pedantic.
I mean, it sometimes the dub can really change the interpretation of the show, though. Like I remember there's one anime and like the Japanese version was like really serious, and then there were some English voice actors that got a hold of it, and they basically like comedically dubbed over the entire thing. It was called like Ghost Soul or Soulmate or something like that. It was, but it turned out really funny, and it basically turned like an otherwise serious anime into like basically a satire, and it turned out really funny.
I mean, that's fair. I get having a preference, especially when they do butcher it. But like, if you liked it, if you watched the dub and you liked the dub, then people shouldn't be hating on you for that. Like, basically, yeah. I know you watched something else too.
Yeah. We can lead into this. So So we watched some Powerpuff Girls. The episodes that I watched, at least, were Mommy Fearest, Rainy Day in Townsville, and Bought and Scold. And
Whoa. No.
What?
The Powerpuff Girls Rainy Day Adventure.
Sorry, Powerpuff Girls Rainy Day Adventure. And Bought and Scold. And yeah, we were just revisiting some classic PPG episodes, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So recently, I discovered the joy of Rabbit. That sounds not right, but Rabbit is a website where you basically screen share and audio share with people, so you're able to watch Netflix and Hulu and YouTube and just anything else basically. And it's, as far as I know, it's like legal because you're not mass distributing it. It's limited to small rooms, but no, you're able to like watch stuff in sync, and that's been great because we're able to watch stuff. So Monsters and I were watching with Shadow Streak. Of course, we were watching the Powerpuff Girls. Originally, we were going to watch something else, but we were waiting for something, and then Shadow and I were like, let's watch the Powerpuff Girls, and then Monsters joined us, and yeah, Powerpuff Girls is as good as it ever was. Man, I really miss thick line animation.
Tanner, I still remember when me and you had to watch through all those episodes again for that Frederator video.
Yeah, we made a video on Channel Frederator called Top 10 Powerpuff Girls Villains. And
really?
And we watched through a bunch of episodes just to kind of recap.
And when everybody gave us problems because we said Mojo Jojo wasn't number 1.
Yeah.
All right, hang on. Give me the like the top 3 on this list.
I remember number 1 for sure, and I remember
what was number
2.
1.
Number 1 was
the gnome, right?
The gnome. Yeah, the gnome from the musical episode.
Really, guys?
Yeah.
I mean, I love that episode too. I don't know why I'm arguing with you over something you made like years ago, but
number
so
2 was
number 2 was him.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I'm trying to remember number 3.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember number 3 too.
I think Mojo was like number 5.
Yeah, Mojo was like 5, but like
we had
everybody
Fuzzy
was
Lumpkins on there. I think he was like number 9.
Everybody was saying, "Oh, you should have put Mojo at number 1 because he's in the most episodes and he has the most involvement with the Powerpuff Girls." And like it wasn't like the question wasn't, "Oh, who's the villain that's in the most episodes of the Powerpuff Girls or who's the most notorious Powerpuff Girls villain?" It was who was the most villainous Powerpuff Girls villain. That's why we didn't put Mojo at 1.
Number 3 was Princess Morbucks.
That's fair. Fair enough.
And the number 4 was the Rowdy Rough Boys.
So, Monsters, what did you think of Rainy Day Adventure? Because that's considered by a lot of people to be like the best episode of the show.
It's so much fun. I love it. It's a lot of fun. I love the professor in the episode too, and the mayor and everything. It's such a great episode.
Mm-hmm. Which one is that again?
So it's the one where they can't fight crime because it's raining, and so they decide to play like. Pretend like there's crime going on, and they all like play as different characters. Like Blossom dresses up like Mojo, and they make the professor be Bubbles. It's a really like
I remember that one.
On the scale of like silly to serious episodes with like Speed Demons on the serious side, Rainy Day Adventure is probably the most on the silly side.
Speed Demon is a great episode though.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like Speed Demon and Knock It Off, like there's some really great episodes that don't really. Well, I don't want to say Knock It Off doesn't have comedy, and Knock It Off is my favorite episode, but Rain Day Adventure is like up there for me as well. I die every time when they're impatient for Blossom, who's supposed to be Miss Bellum, because Blossom is putting 2 stuffed animals in her shirt and standing up on a chair to simulate Miss Bellum.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
What's your favorite episode, Gohan, of Powerpuff Girls?
Man, it's gotta be
Powerpuff Bluff, right?
I do love Powerpuff Bluff, but it's gotta be Bubble Vicious, man. Like,
ooh,
that's just a classic. Or if I want to go,
why do you say that?
Because Bubbles is just awesome. I mean, come on.
Fair point.
You're not wrong.
Or if I want to go newer seasons, it would probably be the one where they end up being like best friends with that girl who moved in next door.
Robin.
It gets really sad because they like can't hang out with her, because they have to go fight crime. I remember the first part of that episode being really good, but then like it goes into like a second part, and it just kind of just has like a weird like second plot, and it just goes downhill. But I remember the first part being good.
I like the idea of that episode, but it does run a little bit long on the montage, or not the montage, but just on their friendship before the actual conflict really kicks in. Because I think what you're thinking of is in the second act, Princess shows up and Robin becomes friends with her.
Yes,
and that's like where the conflict. I mean, the conflict is that the girls can't spend time with their friend, but like that's not the strongest of conflicts. It's an interesting episode.
Yeah, I love Mommy Furious. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that was really good. With I'm a Good Lady.
Yeah.
This is a great. There's like a lot of things that you don't necessarily catch when you watch it the first time, especially if you're younger. Like at the end of the episode, it's implied that the Powerpuff Girls were about to beat up some random like just neighbor that the professor met.
Yeah.
Because they don't want this to happen again. Like the odds of the second one being a supervillain are pretty low, girls. Like you don't have to. But like the episode ends with them like racing right towards her, and the narrator's like, "Here we go again."
she just randomly knocks on the door. Hey, I saw that you guys beat up that bad person, so I made you a pie.
Yep. There's also there's the joke about Buttercup putting something in the professor's pocket that he'll need on his date. I don't know what, but the professor's the kind of guy to invite someone to come live with them after like one date. So I don't know.
Also, that part of the beginning where before they go to the grocery store and he meets I'm a Good Lady, aka Sedusa, where he's basically just hunched over, really depressed, walking over to his bed, and then he looks over to the left and there's nobody sitting there. And it's some really good visual storytelling as well.
Yeah, it's really sad, and it doesn't. It's not overstated. It's not anything. It's just you get it. He looks over in the bed, and you know. So, I watched that stuff with you, and then I also watched the first half of Hilda, which is it's a show on Netflix. Netflix this month or this past month really came out with a lot of good or interesting animated shows. Like BoJack had a new season. What is it? Dragon Prince, which I haven't gotten a chance to check out yet.
By the time this episode comes out, there will be a new season of Big Mouth.
All right. That's fine. That's fine. But no, Hilda came out as well, and then Disenchantment, yeah, whatever that one's called. I mean, I didn't like it, but I know a lot of people did. But like, I mean, either way, I'm very happy that Netflix is doing this big push, because for a while it was like BoJack, F is for Family, and then a bunch of kind of like not great like kids shows.
There was that claymation one. The name I can't remember. It's like Thunderdale something.
Recently, or
no? It's older. I think it only had a single season.
Oh, but yeah, there was like a decent amount of like stuff that was for kids that like DreamWorks spin-offs and stuff like that. But no, recently they seem to be stepping their game up big time. And Hilda is it's based on, I believe, a French-Canadian comic, or maybe just a French comic, but it's a really sweet show. I wasn't particularly drawn in by it myself, but I could definitely see how for like a younger audience, especially, it's just like a really sweet, kind, imaginative show that kind of touches on some of those things about growing up and making friends and interacting with the world around you when you're so young. I enjoyed it. It was interesting. It just didn't grip me in the way I knew it gripped some other people. But yeah, no, I do recommend checking it out.
Cool.
It's in one of those category of shows. Like I just kind of feel like I'm too old for some shows now, and I gotta be careful with how I say that. I'm not saying that there's any age limit like I'm setting on anyone else. Just me personally, I feel like for certain stories about just kind of like growing up, I just feel like I've just kind of passed that, and I don't engage with it anymore. What are some other good examples? Like I guess like Craig of the Creek or something, which looks like a nice show, right, but it just didn't.
Clarence.
Yeah, Clarence kind of too. Where they're just like, they seem like all right shows, but they don't grip me in that way, and that's fine. They're not supposed to. Like, you know, they're not aimed for me, and like I said, I'm not hating on anyone that's my age and likes this stuff. It's just I feel like me personally, I'm just not engaging with those types of stories anymore.
Right.
Just got to be careful with how I say that, because I know people on the internet will be like, like I said, you can't enjoy this show if you're over 24.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I still enjoy Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. God. That's not true. I do not watch that.
No, you just watch Sausage Party and other age-appropriate things.
Yep.
Oh, goodness. All right. Let's move on. So there's a decent amount of news this week.
Right.
So first off, we have in our like token Disney news, because Disney's all about the reboots these days. Lilo and Stitch is getting a live action movie, or it's in the works at least.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's kind of surprising because even though like, they did what? Sleeping Beauty. They did Beauty and the Beast. They did
Maleficent.
Right. Like this
Lion
would be
King,
like
Jungle Book.
Right. Yeah, this is like down there, but I guess it's a little more surprising in that Lilo and Stitch has always kind of been one of the more offbeat Disney movies. It's one of my favorites, but it's one of those ones that you could see them skipping over, or at least not getting to yet.
Right.
I don't really know how I feel about it, honestly. I mean, it'll probably be the same as all the rest of them, where I just don't watch it. But this might be the one that gets my interest, because Lilo and Stitch is, that's a movie I care about a lot.
You see, like, it's weird. I wasn't as familiar with the movie as I was with the TV series. Like, that's kind of more down my alley. I don't remember the
TV
movie
show
too fondly. Yeah.
Did you watch the movie that kicked off the TV, or I'm sorry, that ended the TV show? The
Leroy and Stitch.
Leroy and Stitch. I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid, but I remember loving the heck out of that movie because I've always just been a big fan of like alternate versions of the main protagonist fighting the protagonist. So when you have a whole movie that's based around that with Leroy fighting against Stitch, I thought it was such a cool idea and such a cool concept. And I loved the fact that all of the other aliens were in there too. And I thought it was great.
So you're excited for this new movie?
I'm excited. Yeah, I would say I'm excited. I don't know where I'll agree with you, Pieguy. I think it's definitely a weird choice because when I think of Lilo and Stitch, the first thing that comes to my mind isn't, oh yeah, Disney made this movie. You know, it is kind of one of the more offbeat Disney movies that they've ever made. But
it's also got one of the youngest protagonists too.
Yeah. Watch, in Hollywood now they'll do something like aging her up, like making her like like casting
Teenager?
Megan Fox or something. I don't know.
Oh God. Oh.
They probably would do something like that.
I mean, I don't know who I'd want to play. I mean, I'd assume Stitch would be CG.
Yeah, same with the villain too.
Gantu?
I think that's the big guy with the big arms and like the
the shark head. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you do. Hey, bringing up the series, that does kind of make me wonder if they would actually incorporate any elements included in this like kind of sort of remake live action thing. It'd be kind of cool to get Ruben or 625 as he's known in there, or just like one or two other things. I'm not saying I want. I mean, knowing how big Angel, which is Stitch's cousin, but also his love interest. But I guess because they use the term cousin loosely. Anyway, there's just experiments that were all made by the same guy. They're not actually. Well, they might be genetically related. Anyway, she's really big. No, she's really big merchandise-wise in Japan, so I could see them adding her.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything particularly limiting about the fact that they're turning an animated series / movie into live action. Like, I feel like it's not really something that'll take away from it.
Well, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that kind of makes me wonder, not to hate on it, but just that like a good chunk of the cast are aliens, which would either be CG or, let's be honest, they're going to be CG. They're not going to be people in makeup.
Mocap.
Right. so there's a good chunk of them, and then the human characters. The main one is supposed to be, I think, like 8, but like they're not going to cast an 8-year-old. I mean, maybe they will, but I don't know how good the acting is. And then they'd have to find one that's also culturally appropriate,
Right?
because then Disney would hear from it. I mean, it should.
They're
as it
like
should be.
Hawaiian Polynesian island, correct?
Correct.
Something
Well,
like
it's Hawaii.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like there's like a decent amount of hurdles. Not that they can't overcome them, but that's why I'm thinking it's not the most obvious to do like a live action remake with. But I guess the Jungle Book wouldn't be either. So
Right.
Which that was a weird movie.
yeah, I don't know. But as far as I can tell, because like I said, I haven't seen any of them. As far as I can tell, all of these films have done at least okay. Like,
Jungle Book did amazing at the box office.
Really?
Yeah. It did really well, which is because Andy Serkis, Andy Serkis, the guy that did mocap for like
It's
he
Gollum,
did like
right?
yeah, he did Gollum, he did Caesar and the Planet of the Apes movies. He did oh god.
Was he Voldemort?
No, he was not. Snoke in the new Star Wars movies.
So basically Voldemort.
Anywho, he recently directed another adaptation of the Jungle Book that's completely separate from the Disney version, but it's still like Rudyard Kipling's story. And I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be like a big release, but I'm pretty sure they downplayed it. I don't even know if it's been released yet, but I'm pretty sure they scaled down the release because people would probably confuse it with the Disney one. And I think this interpretation's a bit more serious. So.
But yeah, I'm not like super against this movie, but I don't know. It's it is what it is. I mean, at this point, there's no stopping this trend,
Right.
Whether you like it or not. And yeah, I don't know.
We were joking beforehand if they made like a live action Emperor's New Groove or Home on the Range.
But Emperor's New Groove would make sense. That one would actually be pretty funny, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, because you have an actual actor and then you do CG llama and
Right.
get actual John Goodman. I mean, that would be sweet.
Yeah.
He's maybe a little too old, but
Right.
But no, I think because that's actually about humans. I mean, I don't. You'd have to cast someone really funny to be Yzma.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I have no idea who you would get for her like that. Yeah.
I mean, I'd say Joan Rivers, but she passed away.
Rip.
That's not funny, monsters. Okay. Anyway, man, this is a super cheery episode we got going on. So the next bit of news is the big one.
Big news.
Right. So Comedy Central is launching. No. The big news is that there's a new president of Nickelodeon, which is not entirely surprising because they lost a president, which is always a sign that like, for whatever reason, Sima was out. It wasn't good because if it was good, they would have had someone lined up to take her place immediately.
Right.
So, and I mean, it's possible he did, and then they're just like announcing him now. But I don't know. I mean, after all the stuff I've heard about her, that I wouldn't. Anyway, so this guy Brian Robbins, he's got a pretty respectable career in film and television, and at least what the article lists him as, and possibly his greatest accomplishment is creating Awesomeness TV. Now, if you're anything like me, you might be thinking, oh, he created like a terrible, terrible show on Nickelodeon. And I mean, I guess indirectly he did, but this is Awesomeness TV, the YouTube group. The YouTube.
Yeah, they're more than just because the show on Nickelodeon was kind of spun off as like, little skits starring the people from the YouTube group.
That show was really bad. But
yeah.
And I don't know, maybe the YouTube content
Remember that Fine Bros show on Nickelodeon?
No, don't just stop. But like Awesomeness TV is apparently a really big thing, and it's really popular with kids, regardless of like, I don't know, what old people that it is irrelevant, like whatever we think. But he has achieved that, and he does at least understand what kids want and are interested in, and so yeah, I don't have anything really bad to say about him.
Yeah, he has an interesting resume. Like, it says that he directed Norbit, the Eddie Murphy movie.
Oh.
And that is infamously one of the worst comedies of the 2000s.
That's funny because that killed Eddie Murphy's career.
Yeah,
but it didn't
pretty
kill
much.
a director's career.
Yeah, he also directed Good Burger, on the other hand, which is, I guess a Nickelodeon kids classic. And then he produced and developed on Kenan and Kel, all that. Sunny with a Chance, which is that's a Disney show that had Demi Lovato in it, and also some more adult and teen oriented stuff like Smallville and One Tree Hill. So,
I mean, everybody gets their one screw up, I think, and that was probably Norbit.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, a lot of these shows that are listed, a lot of these things are not like the Shaggy Dog he directed or produced. They're not.
And that's not Dougal.
Right, but it was also not a very liked movie. But I mean, I don't know. The dude he's been around he's because of Austin's TV, he's kind of been a little bit in internet TV. He's been in kids TV. He's been with Nickelodeon, Disney. He's been with some adult TV. He's been with movies. Like, I feel like that's the kind of career you want to get as a president of your network, because that's someone who understands the zeitgeist, or as you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about him. I just kind of wanted to, we have a second news article that kind of ties in with this, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about just Nickelodeon in general and what's been going on with them. So our other news article, it just says that 2 high-level Nickelodeon executives, Bronwyn O'Keefe and Leanne Chmielewski Larson, very mouthful names.
Yeah.
They have both been let go. They've parted ways, as they say.
Amicable split.
Yeah, and apparently when asked, Nickelodeon just says that they don't talk about what goes on in their company. Like, they don't talk about their personnel issues, which is just, that's always wonderful. Like, I mean, I get why no company wants to have that out, but just like, especially in the entertainment industry when everything is so behind closed doors and so sketchy, like, I hate that. I wish... I don't want them to throw. Well, I don't want people. I don't want anyone thrown under the bus. But like, here's the thing. All right, Nickelodeon in the past year. Okay, they got rid of the guy who made the Fairly Odd Parents, whose name is banned from this podcast, but who has, from other people's accounts that have worked with him, has not been the easiest to work with guy. They got rid of Dan Schneider, who, like, allegations aside, has been known to have like a bad temper and been difficult to work with and really set in his ways. They got rid of Sima. Now they're stepping down 2 more executive people. Like, something is going on at the network. Either they're purging the bad people because they're trying to make it better, or there's some sort of hostile takeover or something. But like that, this is all very sketchy. Like the two creators at Nickelodeon that had been there for over 10 years are gone. Like, that doesn't just happen. You don't let go of those same people at the same time. And granted, we don't know the details. But we do know that Dan Schneider, at least, he had 2 shows in production. He didn't want to leave. There's no way he wanted to leave. So whether Nickelodeon found out something about him and nixed it and distanced themselves before that could get out, or whether Nickelodeon didn't want to work with him or his shows were underperforming, whatever the reason, it's just crazy. I don't know. I want to say this is good for Nickelodeon. If they're purging the people that are toxic, like, that is good. But I do worry that it's just more... You know what I mean? Like, something worse is going on in there.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of back in like the 2007-8 years, when for Cartoon Network, when Jim Samples resigned and Stuart Snyder was getting hired, there was a huge overhaul of executives at Cartoon Network. Mm-hmm. That went with the shifting of presidents. This is interesting. It is weird. I think they also just announced, I think that there's a bunch of changes going on, at Viacom as a whole, the parent company of Nickelodeon. Yeah. Like, I think they just hired some new people for BET. But yeah, this is really interesting. They're probably trying to get a new, image and get some new fresh blood in there. And also, I mean, I've been looking a little bit at the ratings for Viacom shows, and particularly Nickelodeon, and they haven't been great, especially in the past year or two. No. So perhaps maybe with cable subscriptions going down and less viewership, maybe they're just trying to accomplish, big things with just less people.
Yeah, I mean, according to the
consolidate
article,
costs.
it is just saying that it's Viacom implemented around rounds of layoffs, eliminating hundreds, cost-cutting measure. But that doesn't, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, cable's going down the
like
the
that's the thing. I mean, you could look at Nickelodeon and say the ratings are going down, but then you can also look at just across the board and say they're going down. So I don't know. I don't know what this all means. Let's hope that it means that just new, fresh people are coming in to try to totally revamp the network, which needs it. Because it's very worrying that it's still reliant on SpongeBob, still pushing the Loud House, and then it has this push for retro stuff. But as we kind of talked about, it's just like that's not a certainty, and that's a limited resource. You know, there's only so many shows you can reboot. Like,
and the state of their live action stuff isn't the best right now either.
No, it's a lot of attempting to be Dan Schneider shows.
Yeah. What do you think, Gohan?
Dan Schneider creeps me out. That's what I think.
Okay.
I don't know. Ever since I saw all that controversy about him, I just haven't. I don't know. I've just felt bad like watching a lot of those shows because it's like I don't know. I don't know if any of that stuff about him is true, but it just it's just that knowledge, like it just makes you not think about that the same way, I don't know.
Yeah. So in line with this, kind of different news, similar though. Comedy Central has announced that it's going to start an animated shorts program.
Which I'm really excited for.
Comedy Central's Viacom, right?
No, they are Viacom.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sorry. So this is like another thing that I don't know. There is definitely something up going on with Viacom, but this is cool. So if you don't know, this sort of thing, well, Cartoon Network at least has done it for years. Like the entire reason we got the Powerpuff Girls and Courage the Cowardly Dog and Dexter's Lab and like a third of the cartoons is because they initially sought out just like independent animators to make these shorts for them for their short anthology series, and then they just picked the most successful ones of those. And then they did that later on, like another round, and that's how we got Kids Next Door. That's how we got Billy and Mandy.
Picks.
Yep, and then even further later, they did the Cartoon Institute, which didn't end up fulfilling its goal, but it still was able to produce
Regular Show and Uncle Grandpa.
Right. So,
and then even later than that, we had Frederator's Oh Yeah Cartoons, which spawned Adventure Time and Fanboy and Chum Chum.
Right, and then actually,
continue.
speaking of Oh Yeah Cartoons, the original incarnation of Oh Yeah Cartoons on Nickelodeon, that's what gave us Fairly Odd Parents and I think Teenage Robot.
Oh, really? I thought Fairly Odd Parents came from Cartoon Network's What a Cartoon.
No.
Oh.
Nope.
Well, yeah, a bunch of stuff came from that too, but like the What a Cartoon show that, spawned Dexter's Lab, Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls.
A primordial version of Family Guy.
Yep.
But basically what we're getting at is just that, like, historically, this has worked to produce some really great shows. It makes sense, right? You bring in a bunch of fresh faces, you just have them, show me what you got, and then you just take the best ones. And now with the internet, like, you can absolutely see feedback in a huge way that you could never do before. Not even just that the internet exists, but just that like things like Twitter exist, like Twitter polls, like just the most simplest of yes or no clicks to get someone's opinion on
Adult
it.
Swim does that too. Like sometimes they'll upload like an entire slate of like 5 pilots to their website, and there's just a little thing at the bottom where you can vote for which one you like the most.
Oh, and actually on that note, you're even more recently with Cartoon Network. Like 2 years ago, they uploaded a bunch of shorts, and that's how Victor and Valentino and Infinity Train were born.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, this is good news. This is exciting, and Comedy Central. It has South Park.
Yeah, they've had South Park, and they had Futurama for a long time before that got canceled. But like in recent years, they've had animated shows that they try to really promote and try to make them stick, like Legends of Chamberlain Heights and Trip Tank, but they just didn't do well enough to stay on the network.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess this is good, and especially because it, like, I hope they be diverse with it. And the thing that kind of gets me about Comedy Central shows, the thing that gets me about adult animation in general, is that it like almost always wants to go for that like super gory, like borderline nudity, drugs, smoking, like all that
the Mr.
stuff.
Pickles type stuff.
Right. I mean, South Park and Archer, and like, it's not that I don't like this style. I mean, BoJack is in this style, and like I like it, but like so many adult shows fall into that category that it's just like you could have an adult show that's just mature, like that, you know, that has some sexual situations, that has some drug use or smoking, but it's not like, you know, token character that does all of these things all the time, which is like so many of them. I don't know. It just feels like it's like, well, we're an adult show, so we gotta show that we're an adult show. It's like, no, you could just be more mature. Like,
right.
Where do y'all think that trope originated, though? Like, what show do you think started that?
That's
Simpsons
a good question.
Guy?
Not The Simpsons. The Simpsons isn't. It's not like that, actually. It is at times, but
I wouldn't know. I haven't seen enough of it. But maybe like Stewie and Family Guy.
What's that show I'm thinking of? Where it's all those guys and they're in New York. It used to be on Adult Swim. Like there was a. It's not the Oblongs, but it's a show that aired around the same time on Adult Swim. No. They were all in like a 1-bedroom apartment, and like the brother had glasses. God, what am I thinking of?
Was it 2D animation?
Yes, because I feel like that show is the one that started that trope. Because he's a very BoJack Horseman-esque character. And I
mean, I'll be honest with you. I think it's South Park. As much as I love South Park, yeah. I think that because I mean they're what, like 90. 93, 94, something like that is when they came out, and or 97. Them and Family Guy kind of really made it popular, but like you just, I don't know, it's just a trend that like I don't mind it, but not every show has to do it. And I mean, you see it in Disenchantment with like Lucy, the devil that's always, you know, literal devil, and even the main character who's just like hard drinking all the time, and it's just like there's other ways to show that it's an adult show. I don't know. Like, you know, stuff like Moral Oral, and like it's always so heavy on that it just, I don't know. Anyway, my rant over. Did you find out what you're talking about?
I'm checking Adult Swim's wiki right now, looking for it.
Is that what let's see, 12-ounce mouse?
What's the other Adult Swim weird show with the Drinky Crow show? Did you ever watch that one?
Oh, that might be what you're talking about. I vaguely know what that is.
Yeah, that one was weird.
But yeah, like that's the thing. Adult Swim, like Rick from Rick and Morty. What's he always doing? He's always drinking. You know, yeah. It's like, yeah. It's just, I don't know. That's honestly why I generally like kids shows a little more because they can't be like so violent, so they have to get more creative with it.
Well,
anyway, we got off on a big tangent. But I just kind of worry that's what people are going to try to do to appeal to Comedy Central. They're just going to try to make it another South Park, another Gore Fest, another you know,
right.
Huckleberry. But so yeah, so that's the news.
And that's... No, I'm not going to say it.
Oh, man, you stole it. That's what I was going to say.
So we have 2 questions this week. One from Cartoons to Last over on our Discord server. We have a Discord
Cartoons
server.
2.
Oh, sorry. Its name is Cartoons 2. I just copy and pasted it from the Discord, and it gives you the date, but it says like last Sunday instead of just saying, you know, a day. Anyway, Cartoons 2 asks, you know, I'm just gonna clean up what his phrasing is a little odd on this, but basically he's asking, why doesn't Cartoon Network do what Nickelodeon is doing right now with their reboots and their revivals? In that, even though Cartoon Network does have like what are we up to, 4 shows that are now reboots or spin-offs, if you include Dramarama, Ben 10, Powerpuff Girls, and Teen Titans Go, like we're up to that, but we don't really have any show that's a continuation of the original. We don't have a revival. aside from Samurai Jack, which was kind of gobbled up by Adult Swim anyway. But yeah, we don't have a revival. We don't have a big push for that old content. Like I've said many times about the Boomerang app is not that. We don't have, here's a TV movie. Here's a new Dexter's Lab TV movie. Like, we know they can get Gendy, right?
Right.
None of that. Why is Cartoon Network opting for their style that they're going for? And I mean, I guess just the thing is that it's, I don't know. It's weird because I would say that it's risky to do that sort of thing, because if you bank too much on old stuff and nostalgia and all that, like, there is a limit to which people want that or need that, and eventually you get burned out. And if you've invested too much time and money into that, it could be a big loss. But then again, they have so many reboots anyway.
I mean, I know that we're living in a different time, but Cartoon Network's entire first 5 years of existence pretty much were reruns of shows from decades past.
Yeah.
And partial, bumpers and promos with semi-revivals, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, see, this is stuff that me and you, Tanner, have been talking about for years. Cartoon
Right.
Network seemingly, it's almost as if they want to just ignore it. Like, it's not like they don't know that people would love a continuation to, like, Ed, Nettie. Or it's not like they don't know that people wouldn't love a continuation to the original Powerpuff Girls. But it's almost as if they've done everything they can to purposely avoid that. And I'm not sure why. I've never been sure why.
I mean, we know this exactly because we know that Mr. Warburton pitched Galactic Kids Next Door and got turned down
Right.
a few times. Like, we know specifically and directly that they just don't want continuations. I mean,
there was The Fog of Courage, which never aired in the States.
Right. That's a very good point.
Same with Johnny Goes to Bollywood.
Oh, yep. Johnny Bravo.
That's another great point. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make sense because, I mean, as I harp on forever, it's just like, all it would take is like throwing the old stuff up on Boomerang and promote it like that, or I don't know, do what Nickelodeon did and partner with like Netflix to bring just all the old shows. Like, Netflix had their old shows at one point and then they decided to not renew the license. Right now, Cartoon Network, like streaming Cartoon Network, is a complete mess because some of their shows are on Netflix, some of their shows are on Hulu, some of their shows are on Boomerang, some of their shows are on their own networks, just cartoonnetwork.com or Cartoon Network's app. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I understand having some stuff on their network anyway, like on their network site, but like, pick a service. Either have your stuff on Hulu or have it on Netflix. I would not recommend splitting the library between the two. Like, for some reason, the Ben 10 reboot, the first season, just got dropped on Netflix. Why? Why is that not on Hulu with the original Ben 10 is on Hulu? Ben 10 Omniverse is on Hulu. Like, it that doesn't make sense. Because it's, I mean, for one, as someone who owns all these services, it's just confusing. Like, it's just a pain in the butt. Like, hey, I want to watch, I don't know, like Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. Like, is it on Netflix? No. Is it on Hulu? No. It's not on Cartoon Network. It's like, okay, cool. They added it to the Boomerang streaming service. Great. But like,
yeah, and there's some shows that aren't on any.
Right. It's weird. But yeah, I don't know. I wish I had a good answer to this.
Yeah, and even the ones that are on Netflix or are on Hulu, it's not even the entire show. Like, I remember having, like, Ed, Nettie on Netflix, when that was on Netflix, they had only the first 2 seasons. And then they ended up taking it completely off, and then when they eventually added Ed, Nettie back on, they didn't have the first 2 seasons. They only had the last 2 seasons, seasons 3 and 4. So it's just never been consistent, and that's, I think, another big tangent I would get into.
Yeah,
but
same thing with their home releases.
Yeah,
well,
their home releases is another big tangent I could get into because they're just never consistent. Most recently, I made a rant video on the fact that not only have we gotten the complete series of Courage the Cowardly Dog's DVDs individually, but we're also getting a complete series box set of Courage the Cowardly Dog when we haven't seen a season 2 release of Johnny Bravo, a season 2 release of Dexter's Lab when they were both a part of the same Hall of Fame DVD line that Courage was a part of originally.
Yeah, and then like a few years back, out of nowhere, they dropped Foster season 3.
Yeah, like where did that cut? Like it literally just came out of nowhere.
Yep.
And then on top of that, when their older shows are on streaming platforms, as I've lamented, like Ben 10 will be in HD widescreen for 2 seasons, and then the other 2 seasons won't.
No.
Just like inexplicably. I don't know. Cartoon Network really just needs to clean up its act, and I don't want to say like Cartoon Network should just make its own streaming service, but I do heavily think that they should morph Boomerang into just being a Turner library of everything they got, everything they can get their hands on, and I think that would interest people a lot more than what Boomerang is right now. And when I say Boomerang, I mean the streaming service.
Yeah,
because people get confused, but I have never spoken about the network. But anyway, yeah, though that's a good question, and it's interesting. I mean, I guess it's just ultimately it's just different strategies. They feel like starting fresh and trying to appeal to kids today is the better strategy, and in some ways it might be. In some ways, instead of worrying about 4 series worth of continuity of Ben 10, just rebooting it and taking the best elements from a few of the different versions might just be a better strategy of attracting new people. It might be. It's not creatively, I don't think that's the best thing to do, but in terms of attracting the most people, that might be the best thing. The Powerpuff Girls, we've spoken about how there might be some issue with just the violence of it in just doing a direct continuation. There just might be, and it might have just been a smarter bet for them to reboot it. I don't know.
Also, I know I bring this up every time I talk about Cartoon Network reboots, but the only ones that they have rebooted pretty much are only due to the fact that they sold a lot of merch originally.
Right.
Powerpuff Girls, Ben 10 sold. I think Ben 10 sold like $5 billion worth of merch or something crazy like that, like worldwide.
I guess what it is that ultimately it just they don't see our demographic as viable, and I mean, we're not business people, we're not executives, so there might be something important that we're not seeing. There, we might be overestimating how much our generation, our age group, cares.
Well, Tanner, you actually just reminded me, and Pieguy, I'm really curious of your opinion. Did you ever read that IGN article about Cartoon Network's sexism about a few years ago?
No.
The Paul Dini one?
Yes, the one where I believe it was Paul Dini, where he came out and said that the way Cartoon Network views what they do for their shows, like whenever they were doing what did he say they were working on?
Tower Prep?
Yeah, Tower Prep. Like Cartoon Network would tell him when he was making the show, hey, make sure that the girls, make sure they stand in the back. Make sure they're always behind the boys. Make sure the boys are always the closer ones to the screen because we want to sell toys. And because girls don't buy toys. Girls don't buy this. Girls don't buy that. We want to sell these, to the boys. And my biggest argument against that has always been the Powerpuff Girls. That show has had more merchandise than almost anything I've ever seen. And that's a girl show. Like, girls totally buy toys. Girls totally buy these things. Like, I don't understand that mindset, but
it's an old Hollywood thing, unfortunately.
It's a stigma.
But yeah, no, I don't know. There might be something to it, but I guess Nickelodeon is making bank with Hot Topic shirts and all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, they don't even have to reboot or anything. Just the fact that Nickelodeon is making merchandise.
They have their own
old
Loot
shows.
Crate.
Right, they do. The Nick box, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, you would think. Yeah, no, I mean, there might be something logistically to make it so that they can't do it. Like, maybe something about the contracts of these old shows. They just didn't. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, to move on to the next question by Christian Gohan, who asked us a lot of questions. Thank you. You give us a lot of good prompts. What is the fine line between artsy and pretentious? When does something try to tell an immersive story or go for a unique theme not seen often in shows go too far and end up seem like it's trying to be something more than it actually is? So I guess I can start because my answer is kind of like the show that comes to my mind when talking about this is Adventure Time, because Adventure Time, you know what? It's always ambitious. Pretty much every episode is ambitious in one way or another. And a lot of times that ambition is in trying to be deep or trying to make some statement about humanity or something, or like the nature of storytelling. And you know, when you try to make big, bold statements like that, when you try to go for a moral that isn't just like, you know, be nice to everyone or something like that, it's risky because you have to convey your message. There's a fine line between being so subtle that no one picks up on it and so blatant that it's not interesting. Like, no one wants 11 minutes of being told something, right? Like, I want a story that weaves something into the, you know, narrative that kind of gets its message across, that I feel like I got the message, but I wasn't like just told the message. That's ultimately what it is. That's what storytelling is generally. It's finding that fine line between making sure an audience knows something, but then also hiding a certain amount of things from the audience, so some things are left to be surprises. But as far as when does it like the fine line, I mean, that's who's to say? Like, that depends.
Yeah, are you kind of leaning into the territory of like something being quote unquote fake deep, where it's just like, where it's like it tries to be more have more content than it actually does have?
Well, you know, go on.
I was gonna say, when I think about that term fake deep, I often think about the recent seasons of South Park. I know I bring up that example a lot, but just like, you know, it set out to be, I don't know if it was necessarily pretentious in the way that it tried to convey what it was trying to convey, but no, it definitely tried to set out and do a lot, and tried to hit these points of social commentary, but I thought it fell short on all accounts in the past few seasons.
In what ways?
Just not delivering. Like, because I think the way that South Park... Which like, particular examples?
Sorry.
With, like, no, it's fine. Like, with the whole ads thing and, like, the trolling thing with Kyle's dad. Like, I think they were trying to make some bigger, more important statements, and they just weren't that impressive or meaningful.
Right. I think the member berries would be a good example of that, where they were clearly trying to set some connection up with like the reliance on nostalgia and all that, but then their storyline got so mangled up that like the point of the member berries and like who was behind them and what they were trying to really be just became it was just a dumb joke. It's essentially Pickle Rick, you know, like that level of just like and actually Pickle Rick's another good example, but I'll let you go next, Jamie.
That's a really difficult question, to be completely honest with you. I mean, I can think of a lot of movies that try to be something and then they just don't quite get there. But I can't think of any cartoons recently that have done that. So I guess the closest thing I can think of would have to be Family Guy. Because in recent seasons, they've been trying to, I don't know, like they'll try to make a statement. Like whenever they try to make a statement to the fans or to Fox or to whatever about like, oh, you know, you can't cancel us because, you know, we're this and that, and it's just, I don't know. Like I guess they in some way are trying to prove a point, but it's just they just end up looking pompous, you know, as a result. You know, so that's the best I can think of.
Okay. Another example, and I recently saw a great video by One Shadow Streak about Pickle Rick. that I agree with him on. But no, Pickle Rick is a great example of being faux
is.
deep, because that ending where it's like the therapist like analyzes Rick, and it's like this is the psyche of Rick. It's what makes him tick, and it just like it doesn't work because it's a character flat out telling you. It's like it's like the creator of the show being like, "Hi, this is what Rick is, and this is why he is so messed up, and it's so much less powerful than actually seeing it, you know?
Right.
Like
when
in
it's
the
explained to you, it's way better when it's implied and you just kind of figure it out on your own.
Right, like when he makes the robot to pass the salt or whatever, and it's like, life has no purpose or whatever. Like that is an interesting glimpse into his character. How he interacts with Morty is interesting glimpses into his character.
Morty burying his own body.
Right, like there is deepness in Rick and Morty. I don't want to imply that there isn't, but that episode in particular, Pickle Rick, is one of those that just it's not there because it's just a point blank. Here, let me tell you.
Away.
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess ultimately, if I do have one thing to say on like where's the line, I would say a lot of it depends on how much respect your audience has for the show. And I know that's like a weird thing, but if you hear me out on this, if you're a director, right? If you're someone like Kubrick, right, who has been respected, very, very, very highly, and whose works like are known to have deep themes in them, then you can get away with a lot more because your audience goes in expecting that and knowing that and trusting the creator that there's going to be something deep in it, and that the stuff that might seem pointless actually has value in it.
Yeah.
If you're someone that's, if you're a show that's made of the first season or whatever, like you're just kind of starting out and you try to put all these deep meanings, it doesn't always necessarily work because the show doesn't necessarily trust it. I think that's part of why season 1 of BoJack, like the first few episodes, didn't get rated very highly, because a lot of people were skeptical that this goofy horse show could really pull off some of the more mature themes and the darker elements that it had, because they didn't know yet. Like,
right.
People like to think of stories and things as concrete, as like, I give X a rating because of Y reason, and therefore I'll give another thing the same rating because of Y reason. But like, the way you interact with a story, the way you view a story can change, and the way, just the respect and like things like that, like little things that you don't think could affect something do affect it, for better or worse.
Yeah.
Sorry, not to get all fake deep on everyone.
And that's
the questions.
Yep.
Next week we have a very special recast number 10.
Boom.
And we are talking about an episode that has not aired as of us recording this. It might have aired by the time this releases. Actually,
no.
probably
the day before.
Oh, well. Okay. Anyway, it's the episode from OKKO called Crossover Nexus. It's the big event that's being billed under Raven from Teen Titans Go as a Raven event. So that's super wonderful. So we're comparing that episode to the Teen Titans Go episode, PPG versus TG, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
I might reverse that. But yeah, we're reviewing those. We're talking about those two episodes, and we have both Kuro the Artist and Shadow Streak returning. So there's going to be lots of us. It's going to be lots of fun. And please do check it out. If you only watch one episode of the recast, maybe watch the Chuck Conroy one, but also watch that one, and also keep watching this one. Anyway, that's next week, and then the week after we're gonna have Kuro back on to talk about more Ben 10, but this time instead of talking about the reboot, we're actually gonna be talking about Back with a Vengeance, the season 2 finale of the first Ben 10 series, Ben 10 Classic, and War of the Worlds parts 1 and 2 from Alien Force, which is the season 2 Alien Force finale. As we're getting a little closer to Halloween, it's kind of, Aliens, War of the Worlds, etc. But they're both really good season 2 Ben 10 finales, and that should be a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So if you can only watch 10 episodes of the recast, you should watch the first 10 and then refresh that that feeling of only watching 10 for the next 10. So,
Yeah.
all right. So we have 2 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episodes to talk about. Gohan, you picked the episodes this week.
Yes.
So you want to talk about... Yeah. We gave you the prompt of just... We don't really know much about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but we want to talk about them. And we know you like them, and so you pick 2 episodes that you feel are kind of like comparable.
Yes, I am a huge Ninja Turtles fan, and I always have been. I grew up with the '87 series, and of course, I obviously grew up with the 2003 series as well. And while both are comparatively different, I was always more of a bigger fan of the 2003 series. Now, what we're comparing is the 2003 and the 2012. The 2012, I actually haven't seen almost any of, with the exception of the episode that obviously we're comparing. So I'm excited to delve into this, to delve into unexplored territory with the 2012 series and some beloved territory with the 2003 series. So let's kick it off. Let's kick it off.
Okay.
What did you guys think of the 2 episodes?
So, well, first off, we should describe what the episodes are. So, this is going to get confusing. I'm just going to call them, like, the 03 episode and the 2012 episode, and, like, the 03 series and the 2012 series, because technically they have different names, but, like...
Yeah.
To start off, we have Attack of the Mousers from the 03 series, which... it's the 3rd episode of the intro storyline for this show, and the Turtles have just taken April O'Neil back to their secret lair. She's the first one to know about them, and she was attacked by her old boss, Baxter Stockman, and his robotic mouser things, which are running around stealing from the city, and so the Turtles have to go and fight the Mousers, fight Stockman, take them down. The 2012 episode is kind of similar, but instead April O'Neil's cell phone has been stolen by a gang of thieves, and the Turtles try to go get it back against Splinter's warnings. Along the way, this dog pound gets hold of the phone, and Baxter Stockman is also involved. They're just all involved. There's a lot of villains in this episode. And basically the Turtles are fighting against each other on who's the A team and who's the B team of the between 2 and 2 of the Turtles, and they each split up and they end up fighting the Mousers and trying to get the cell phone back.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start more with the 03 series. What did you guys think of this episode?
So with the 03 series, obviously I'm very familiar with this episode because it just continuing to give me flashbacks of pretty much how it almost exactly happened in the 87 series, but just watching the freaking Mousers in comparison to the 2012 was, I don't know, because I'm a big fan of the comics too, and the way they look in the comics and the way they look in just both these shows is just so different. And I really like Baxter in the 2003 version. I think his character is so much more fleshed out, especially once we get into later episodes. But this is such a great introduction for him because you really get to see, this is just his introduction, But can we delve into spoilers or no?
Oh yeah, no. There's no such thing as spoilers on this podcast. Yeah.
Okay, so the Mousers going up against the Turtles is really, because Baxter Stockman is one of my favorite Turtle villains. I remember as a kid, I would always play with the Mousers action figures from the 2003 series. And
me too.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will admit that in the 2012 episode, I did like how there was more character dynamic. There was more going on with the I thought so. I thought really? So.
Okay, so yeah, I am a complete noob with the Turtles. Like I never saw I was a little too old a little too young to catch the original Turtles. Like I never saw them in reruns, and then I was a Kids WB kid, so I saw plenty of commercials. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Flash Forward, and all that sort of stuff. But then I was too busy watching the Titans and Static Shock and all that.
Right.
But anyway, so like that's interesting that you say that, because I was a little worried when you picked these episodes and I saw like, oh, this is part 3 of like a 5-part story. Like, is this going to be all right for me to jump into? But like, actually, I feel like this was a great episode to introduce me to like the Turtles in general, because we see their backstory. And even though we missed like a little bit of the story with April being attacked, they recap it pretty well at the beginning. And I feel like April's reaction to the Turtles is kind of like a good way to be like, yeah, this is kind of freaky, but I can dig it. Like, but to your point, I actually thought they had a little more personality in the 03 series, whereas in the 2012 series, they seemed a little more static, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll agree with the personality. But I just think that in what specific is, like I said, I haven't seen too much of the 2012 series, but specifically in the episode, I think that they had more like going on with each other. Like you said, like with the oh, I'm the A team, or you're the B team, or there was another thing going on with the Turtles other than the mission at hand, or other than what was going on. Because there was the Mousers and there was Baxter Stockman, there was we gotta get April O'Neil's phone, there was oh, I'm the B team, or oh, I'm the A team, and while the 2003 had a good introduction to the characters and everything, I felt that maybe that subtracted a little bit from the story the episode was trying to tell. But I guess, because it is part 3 of a 5-part story, that could be why, But
right. Well, because that is the thing, is that ultimately the Mousers and the Turtles like, interact with Baxter Stockman for about a minute of the episode, like before he runs off. Because it is a lot of like, here's backstory on the Turtles, here's the Mousers, extended scene of the Mousers like robbing a bank. Like, but I thought that was cool. Like I liked that Attack of the Mousers in the 2003 was slower and a little bit more like breathing room, whereas 2012 felt like it was like, this is a comedy cartoon meant to be silly and over the top. Like that's what 2012 felt like. 2003 felt like this is an action show, and yeah, we're goofy and we're comedic and we're cowabunga, dude. But when we have scenes of like, April telling about how she was attacked, we're gonna play like sad music and we're gonna treat it with seriousness. And that is an interesting juxtaposition between the 2003 and 2012, because 2012 was definitely trying to be more comedic. I don't know.
Oh, for sure.
Did you guys find either of these episodes to be funny? I guess I was gonna ask which one is funnier, but did you find either of them to be funny?
No.
Yes, I agree. I don't think so either.
Here's the thing. Like, I felt like 2003 Turtles, I didn't laugh, but I liked their banter. I liked how quippy they were with each other.
Yes.
I liked the like, a wise frog once said, "It ain't easy being green." Like, that's how the episode opens. A reference to Kermit the Frog.
I always love Michelangelo, and Raphael has some good lines too.
Yeah.
Right. Mikey is constantly picking on. Is that Raph? The one.
Raph is the one with the red headband.
He's the angry one.
The one with the very awesome New York accent, picking on the other one. I found that to be very playful and not like mean. Like, I didn't find it funny, but I was amused by their banter. Whereas 2012, they were telling a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
Not much of it hit.
And they had all those Star Trek references too.
Well, yeah, can we talk about that? There's a scene where so the whole core concept of the episode, aside from the Mousers, is that two of the Turtles, I guess the two that are good at fighting, forgive me for not being super great with their names, but the two that are good at fighting are like, hey, we're good at fighting, and then the two that the goofy one and the bookworm one are like, we're not good at fighting, and then they're like, you're the B team. And then they use an example, instead of using a parody of the A team, right? They use a parody of Star Trek, which I guess kind of makes sense. They have a B team on Star Trek and they send down the red shirts. But what got me is that this like parody that they show on the TV, where they get like, it's kind of funny that these guys get beamed down and instantly evaporated. but they're not wearing red shirts. That's the whole joke of Star Trek. Like that's the most well-known like Star Trek lol, they're red shirts, they're gonna die. And yet they don't have them wearing red shirts. I feel like he just kind of missed the punchline on that.
Maybe they were copyrighted.
It's too close to the original. But yeah, no, I've had like and then the 2012 see, I don't know. I feel like I am definitely biased because I love early 2000s action shows.
Same here.
And I love the style, like the art style. I love just like the action in the 03 version is. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's amazing, but it's good action. In 2012, I don't understand. It's like a CG show with anime flourish.
Yeah, it almost kind of reminded me of Teen Titans.
No, don't say that. It's not. It's not.
I commented while I was watching the 2012 episode that it almost kind of seemed like a combination between OG Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, and then it retains a lot of the silliness from Teen Titans Go, but in the same way it has like those, like those Japanese touches and.
I mean, I guess you're not wrong, but I just didn't find it gelled well, like with the CG. I don't know. I mean, it's an art style thing, and that always takes more getting used to. And as a reminder, both of these episodes are from early in season 1 of both these shows. So I'm sure 2012 like evolves its art style as it goes on. This isn't like a review of 2012 as a whole. This is just observations between these points in these two shows. But I don't know about you guys. In 2012, I like the designs of the turtles, and the Mousers look cool, but everything else was like awful looking.
Yeah, the people, the water, the
pizza,
the
pizza looked
bricks.
gross. It looked like a splotchy mess. Like
maybe that was intentional. I don't know.
I didn't like Splinter's texture. Like he's over detailed, not over detailed, but just like I don't know. It looks like a carpet. Like that doesn't look like an actual fur pattern.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too when I was watching it. Honestly,
like someone threw a rug over Master Splinter. Yeah. And those thugs, the purple team or whatever.
Yeah,
they did not look good. They looked like a PS1 game.
I will say one thing though. When you said which was funnier, I actually am gonna have to say the 2012, if only because I could not stop laughing at Clancy Brown's performance as one of the villains. I just could not stop imagining, like, all I wanted to do was just get my computer and just edit these lines over Mr. Krabs. Like, that's all I wanted to do. Like, I was laughing so hard.
If SpongeBob has taught me anything, all you need is Clancy Brown and robots, and there you go.
Yeah.
But I spotted that right away. But intentionally funny. So did you guys like the whole A-Team versus B-Team story in the 2012 episode?
Yeah, I liked it. I think that, like I said, I just think it helped give that right balance to I don't know. I think it helped give the right balance to the story that was going on, as well as giving some type of, thing between the characters. But I do think that there was other problems throughout the episode, because I will agree with you when you said that it felt like it was, too fast paced. And I think that was because of how much stuff they were really trying to shove in this episode. Like you said, there was like 3-4 villains in this,
Right.
There was like a lot of things going on. And I think that the A-Team, B-Team thing was just another thing. If I was to cut some things out, I don't think that would be one of the things I would have cut. But
because the A-Team, B-Team, like that is the focus of the episode. Like regardless of, I mean, it's called Masters Attack, and the Masters are pretty much the main. Well, they're not even. Oh, excuse me. The Masters aren't even really the main antagonist, but the thing that gets the most focus in the episode is this interfighting between A-Team, B-Team thing. Despite there being a number of villains, it's more time is spent with the turtles just kind of arguing with each other.
right.
I it's not like the worst story in the world, and it does kind of make sense for the little I know of these characters. I just felt like it was kind of mean. Like, I felt like their banter in this was very, like, sharp towards each other. It didn't feel like friendly competitive as much as it felt like we're really like upset about this. Like we're not the B team. We're not even gonna call them when we're in trouble. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know,
It's
but
kind of rude.
they're rude dudes, man.
Rude dudes, gnarly.
Party dudes.
One thing that Monsters and I both noticed because we watched these episodes together, is that the 2012 Turtles seem more like younger teenagers, whereas the 2003 series, they almost feel like adults. Like,
Right. They're way more mature.
right. I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Something else, like an interesting comparison, is that both of these episodes end with Stockman being in trouble with a big bad scary guy.
Yep.
Like
In the 2003 episode, he gets taken in by Hun to who eventually will be revealed as Shredder in the 2003.
Spoilers.
Yep.
Not spoilers.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in the 2012 series, he gets taken by Dog Pound to. I don't
Shredder.
remember.
Actual Shredder.
Yeah, actual Shredder.
Yeah. You don't remember Shredder?
Shredder.
That's right. Shredder's in the episode. So wait, you have the Purple Gang, the Mousers, Baxter Stockman, and the Shredder, all in the same episode. But like they don't, like most of them don't do anything.
Yep.
Yeah, it was definitely a weird episode. At least the 2003 series was more straightforward. You know, it was a simpler plot, I think. I mean, really, like I said, like the 2003 episode really was just reminding, because I rewatched a lot of the 87 series about a few months ago. So really, when watching that episode of the 2003 series, it's really reminding me a lot of the first few episodes in that, where, you know, April meets the turtles and goes through all that. Has any of y'all seen the 87 series or no?
I've seen
Nope.
some. I used to. I think I used to rent it from Blockbuster Video.
Yeah. And pretty much the
90s.
2003, pretty much the 2003 episode was very similar to that one also, just instead of Mousers, it was Foot Clan ninjas. But that's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
Can we also agree that just like, I'm sorry, but the action in the 2012 one was not great.
Yeah. I'll
was
agree
kinda
to that
weak.
too. Like I said, like I was telling Tanner before the call, I've heard so many people talk about the 2012 series, about how it's one of the best TMNT series. It's, you know, it's up there. From what I saw from this episode, it looks okay.
Yeah.
You know, like everyone has been telling me nothing but it's this, that, and the other, and I just, what do y'all think? Did y'all see anything?
I mean, I've seen I've seen at least part of another episode of the 2012 series, and it was so much better. I don't even remember much about it, just that I really liked it. I was impressed.
Okay.
But from this episode, I would not watch the 2012 series. I will tell you, and I mean, again, this is a little unfair because the 2003 series, it's an episode that's intended to get you interested in the series, whereas the 2012 one is just another mid-season 1 episode. But from these episodes, I am actually pretty interested in watching the 2003 series. I would get it. I think I saw it was pretty cheap on DVD.
Yeah.
I would
Lots
check
of
it out.
seasons.
2012, I'm willing to bet people in the comments are going to come up to bat for it and be like, oh, it's a season 1 thing or whatever. And maybe I'd still see the 2012 series, but just kind of in these two similar-ish episodes, the 2003 series, yeah, it's just so much more appealing. Another interesting, like, random comparison is that in both episodes, the turtles don't actually defeat the Mousers. Like,
Yep.
they make them explode in the first one, and in the second one, they redirect them with, like, radioactive spray or something.
Yeah, red spray that tracks people.
No, but that was bad technobabble. He was like, it's radioactive isotopes, and it's like, well, how does what? Like, I know it's technobabble, but at least try a little harder. Like,
I mean, it's also kind of like physical technobabble when April O'Neil in the 2003 episode is just typing a bunch of random stuff with weird characters on a computer.
hacking.
Yeah, beep boop bop boop. I'm in, guys.
Yeah,
but like I know. If you guys know Andre Black Nerd Comedy, I'm pretty sure he's a big fan of the 2012 series. and I've seen some of his videos on it. So I do know that there is a lot of people that do enjoy that series.
That's fair. But yeah, just the whole style of it just didn't do it for me. Whereas the style of the 2003 series is like right up my alley.
No, I totally agree. Yeah, I grew up with it, and I really liked
too.
it, and I still really like it.
Also, the funny thing is that in the 2003 episode, there's an iPod, whereas in the 2012 episode, April has like an iPhone-looking phone.
They also both use, they both transition from, MP3 player music to actual, like, diegetic music in the show. Because, it's, Mike, I think it was Mikey in the 2003 episode that's listening to it, and it's like that funky bass line, and then that becomes the actual music. And then, maybe it was on the Turtle phone that Donatello had, but he was playing the Turtles theme song.
Yeah, that's the ringtone. Speaking of those T-phones, which they didn't call shell phones.
Yeah, they missed that opportunity.
Yeah. Also, I feel like there's like a bit of like unfortunate retroactive recognition in that like having cell phones explode might not be as funny after Samsung phones exploded a few years ago, or it might be even more funny depending on how your sense of humor is. Also, did one of them have a pet turtle in the 2012 series?
Yeah, I think it was Leonardo.
Can we talk about that whole ending scene? Like, it cuts after the episode, like the story is over. Mm-hmm. It cuts to one of them breakdancing for an extended period of time.
It's like a 30-second segment of Michelangelo doing dancing. Like just spontaneously.
80s.
Yeah, get it, guys? Because he's dancing, because he's wacky like that. Yeah.
I got the implication that he was the dumb one. Like, I don't like.
Well, I mean,
don't
in
like
the theme
it.
song, they straight up like sum up the character traits of each turtle in 5 words or less.
What was his?
It's like Donatello, or Donatello. He's good with machines. Michelangelo, he likes pizza.
Oh,
it wasn't that, but it was something. I don't remember.
I do gotta ask, because we're comparing these two, how did y'all feel about the opening differences? How the 2012 had that more of like almost like a rap kind of, while the original was,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I think, but that one is just so iconic, man.
Yeah.
Like when I was rewatching this episode, I was sitting there like jamming along, and then when I was watching the 2012 one, I was like, it's good. But it just doesn't have that, it's not iconic. I guess maybe not yet. Maybe it will be in a few more years.
I mean, is there a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series that doesn't have like a catchy theme to some extent? Because I know people hail the first theme song as like one of the best and most catchy songs ever. I was with the 2003 series. I like the driving beat of the 2012 one, but I didn't like the rapping. I don't know. It felt kind of fellow kids.
Are you not hip?
I don't know why. For some reason, I will always like the Danny Phantom theme song, but other rapping theme songs. That's not a rap, and it's not a theme song.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really a rap. It's kind of a rap, but it's not in the same way.
It's just
not
listing off a bunch of Pokemon.
Yeah, it's not like, yo, we got Tentacruel up in this this Poke Center, yo. What word up? Word up to my Meowths. Like,
yo, my name's Brock. Nurse Joy hit me up.
All right. Well,
oh my God.
Let's talk about Baxter Stockman. I liked him more in the 2003 version. You mentioned this pretty early. Okay, so the weird thing is that it's kind of hard to put into words because both versions of Baxter Stockman are like over the top. Neither of them are like subtle performances, but I feel like the 03 version he's more serious. Like he comes across as like an egomaniac, like, my inventions are so great and I'm amazing. Whereas the 2003 version comes off as more like petulant child, like that kind of hammy.
You mean the 2012?
Sorry, yeah, the 2012 version comes off as more like a child. Also, I don't like his weird, like, Play-Doh looking mustache.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, no, Baxter's cool. I do agree. I think he's more convincing in the 2003 version. I think he was definitely, I think, a little too carried away in the 2012 version. Either way, I still thought that he was an interesting character in both interpretations.
Right. I mean, the other thing too is that from the little that I know, a lot of the Turtles villains are like mutated animals and stuff like that, and so it's kind of cool to just have like a guy. I feel like he probably mutates at some point in the series, but
yeah.
Also, there's a talking fish in the 2012 one.
Yeah.
I had
In Shredder's lair.
Yeah, he's like, "You're no good to me like this.
You'll be served up as sushi."
Oh wait, yo, hang on. We missed one of the coolest things: the theme song of the Mousers in the 2003 series.
Oh yeah, the theme for the Mousers. That was
Right.
cool. I like that.
Yeah, they have like a little. It's like just like 3 echoing, reverberating beats that they just play every time we see the Mousers like up close, and that's what's cool about like the 2003 episode, is that there are a lot of like shots, like kind of almost like horror movie shots of these Mousers like terrorizing people and robbing the bank, and like you see security guards freaking out over them. Like there's a lot more build up. Like it's whereas they're just like, I mean, they're indestructible. Like they're a big threat in the 2012 one, but they're not.
Well, that's the thing. Like, in the 2003 version, I think they're a bit more intimidating, and then in the 2012 version, they almost kind of come off as like the droids from the Star Wars prequels, where it's just kind of just slice and dice.
Right. They're invincible because there's so many of them, which is like also kind of cartoonish and weird, but like that's fine. But but yeah, they're invincible because of that, not because they're actually like hard to kill. Like they're easy to kill. There's just so many of them.
Right.
I did like how in the 2012 series, when he was introducing the Mousers, every time he would say a letter, like it would just, there'd be the M, there'd be the O, there'd be the U, there'd be the, and they all stood for something, and it would always like just be brought up. I thought that was cool.
At least they explained what that acronym was for, because they don't look like mice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And they make cat sounds.
Look like birds.
Yeah. But they make kind of like hissing cat sounds in the original, or in the 2003. All right. Do you guys have anything else to say about these two?
Go watch the 2003 Ninja Turtles in its entirety, because it's great.
So I think we're pretty unanimous. Do we all agree that the 2003 episode was better?
Yep.
I don't hate the 2012 version. It just seemed a little more immature for my liking. It definitely did seem like a show that was in its first season and was really kind of trying to find itself. The comedy just didn't. It's just not my kind of comedy, I guess.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really thrilled with like the A team versus B team story. Like the story idea is not bad, but just how awful they were to each other over it, and how kind of like petty and caught up they were. And I don't know. I just feel like there's a better way to tell that story than was told here. And yeah, the faces of the humans are just disturbing. All right, so we have some viewer comments, and a little light this week, but from Yellow Pancake we have, I think Mauser's attack was really missing the words "of the," and I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And then ASK Air says 2003 TMNT is my love. 2003 episode is very nice as an introduction episode to the series. The inclusion of Baxter Stockman in April is great and showcases the action-packed and awesome demeanor of the series, and I agree with that as well.
Me too.
So, I don't know if you know this about our podcast, but we always end with a trivia game. We like not telling our guests because it's more fun that way.
Okay, I'm excited, actually.
Yeah. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle themed, so you're probably going to do pretty well. But you're not too familiar with the 2012 series, so this is interesting. So basically, I picked 5 episodes from both the 2003 series and the 2012 series, and you and Monsters are going to tell me whether you think this is from the 03 series or the 2012 series. I'm going to read the descriptions off of Wikipedia.
Okay.
All right, so you each get a point. You know what, Monsters, you can go first, just because that's a handicap.
Okay.
So, the first episode we have here. When Mikey finds out that Cody has never seen a horror flick, our boisterous movie aficionado drags Cody and his three brothers downtown for a little horror movie festival viewing. What the turtles don't expect is that their horror movie festival is going to turn into the real thing, ... when they meet Shokunabo face to face.
2012.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I think it's 2012 too.
You're both wrong. It's the 2003 series.
No freaking way.
It is. It's season 6, episode 7.
What?
Oh, so that's later on.
Yeah. It's one of the theme seasons. You're right there.
No, I was just like, that seriously blew my mind. I don't remember that. I don't remember that episode.
All right. Number 2. And that episode was called Night of the Shokanabo. So episode number 2. With their bodies bruised and their spirits wounded, the gang returns to the countryside to heal. Unfortunately, their recuperation is interrupted when Casey's cousin, Sid, shows up, demanding money, which he needs to repay a debt to the Purple Dragons.
I think that's 2012.
Gohan?
2003.
You are correct.
Oh.
Monsters is wrong. So that episode is known as Cousin Sid, and that's season 4, episode 1. Okay. After getting in trouble for trashing the house, Michelangelo gets upset and flees. After meeting a member of the Punk Frogs named Napoleon Bonafrog,
That's awful.
he unknowingly joins them in a plan to capture the humans and take over the nearby city.
Oh my god, they couldn't think of anything better than Napoleon Bonafrog.
I would have gone with a reference to Battletoads personally, but anyway.
I'm going to say 2012. Again.
Yes, also 2012.
All right, you are both correct.
Yeah, that sounds like a... That sounds like a...
The title is called The Croaking. The Croaking.
The croaking?
The
Oh
croaking.
my god.
Sorry, just the croak. I don't know, man. Napoleon Bonafrog. That's just not appropriate.
No, yeah.
All right. Number 3. After Splinter is buried on the O'Neill... Oh, by the way, spoilers. After Splinter is buried on the O'Neill farm, his spirit informs Leonardo that Super Shredder is still alive and needs to be stopped. The Turtles, April and Casey, ambush Shredder's hideout after finding out the location from the injured Karai. They defeat Super Shredder's henchmen, even turning Baxter Stockman back to normal in the process, before confronting Sakai on the roof of the hideout. After Super Shredder knocks almost everyone off the building, Leonardo finally defeats the Shredder and finishes him off. The Turtles return to New York victorious as they prepare for the next imminent threat. Lot happens in this episode.
Yeah, sounds like it. I'm going to say 2003.
2003. I remember exactly what episode this is.
You're both wrong. It's 2012.
Oh.
It's called Owari. It probably happens in both series.
It does.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Yeah. Sounds like a good episode.
Yeah.
All right. So you are still at 2, Jamie, and Monsters is at 1. Round 5, and Monsters, the best you could do is tie.
Okay.
All right. Last episode. Leonardo and Michelangelo meet up with Caped Crusader Nobody and attempt to help him out. ... Well, Mikey does anyway.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know.
I'm going to say 2012.
Jamie?
Yeah, I'm going to say 2012.
Incorrect.
Again? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It's the episode Nobody's Fool.
Well, we just bombed.
Is that the one where Mikey dresses up as a superhero? Because I think that was... Oh, you hadn't seen it, right?
No, I could tell you it's based on Tales of the TMNT number 2 called Nobody's Fool, and the episode's called Nobody's Fool.
Oh, I see.
I almost picked an episode accidentally that never got aired from the 2003 series.
Wow.
Because I was looking through the Wikipedia descriptions, and it was funny because it was something like Mikey and April O'Neil get transported to Garbage World, where the trash man is trying to shred them to bits. It had a funny description, and then I saw a note that was like, this episode was never aired due to its violent nature. It only got as far as the storyboarded process. And I was like,
wow.
Okay. I feel like that's probably really not fair to give to you guys, but you still win, Jamie, 2-1.
Yeah, congratulations. Now
Thank
I'm
you.
going to get roasted by a bunch of TMNT fans.
I mean, in fairness, this is pretty unfair because I'm sure some of these things happen in both series.
Yeah. Like I said, especially that last one.
Splinter dies. And also,
Dun, dun, dun.
what? Can you inform me what a super shredder is? Does he get a super mushroom?
No, Super Shredder is just he's just like an enhanced shredder. Like, you know, like, I know it sounds dumb, but I mean
Does
that's
he
really
call?
Yes, he's called Super Shredder.
No, but does he call himself Super Shredder? Does he like, I am now Super Shredder?
You know how like I know you haven't seen it since early Z days, but you know how Vegeta gets that super form and calls himself Super Vegeta? That's the same thing. Like, Shredder just gets bigger and he's like, I'm Super Shredder, and then yeah.
I feel like from what I've read, 2003 Turtles is the one that I'd be interested in. The original, I've seen Phelas review it, and it seems a little too goofy for my taste, like a little too out there in places. Like, maybe I'd watch it to kind of get a laugh, but not something I'd want to watch like all the way through.
Well, here's the
03
thing.
looks like something I'd want to watch all the way through.
The 2003 series ran for actually quite a while. Like, it ran from 2003 until I think 2009. So, and from what I know, I only watched up until around season 3 or 4. But from what I know and from what I've heard, apparently it gets a little rough towards the end.
Well, see, the 2003 series has gone through many changes too. Like, not only it's had its first 4 seasons, right, and those were all they were all the same art style, same everything. Then we jump into the fast forward, right? It's still technically part of the 2003 canon, but, you know, it's almost a different show. Then they end up doing what do they call it? The Back to the Sewer.
Back to the Sewer, yeah.
Yeah, where they ended up changing designs again. Like, now they have pupils all of a sudden. Like, I don't know where, like they have pupils now in their eyes, and the art style has changed again. And it's just so weird because it's supposed to be, you know, the same show, but it's like another season brings another art style, and it just doesn't feel the same.
Interesting. Yeah, it definitely seems like, and from what I was looking at on the Wikipedia page, it seems like there was a decent amount of like scrapped episodes for one reason or another. Let's see. Yeah, 10 episode season of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was originally in production, intended to be aired on 4Kids in fall of 2007. However, it was scrapped mid-production, and only one of the storyboard animatics was released. So,
wow.
Yeah,
interesting. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, probably because they were gonna do another reboot.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thanks for your TMNT knowledge, because I might actually check out the 2003 series. Maybe after I'm done with Ben 10, I'll watch all of the series.
If you love Teen Titans, the original, you'll love the 2003 Ninja Turtles. It's pretty much the same feel.
I believe it. All right. So, thank you guys. Here's a question for you, the audience, if you made it this far. Did you see the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series, and what do you think of it?
Yeah.
Would you like to see that on the recast, maybe compared to any other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right. PIEGUYRULZ, out.
Catch you guys later.
See you guys next time.